And we are live. Finally. Create Your New Life Real Estate Training or session. We are about to get it jumping. Thursdays at 12 o'clock. We're running a little behind today. Had a lot of activity in the office, but we made through it. We got it done. And now we finna jump into it. So it's good to see everybody today. And we'll jump right into this thing. So this is actually the last one before I take a break for a week. Going on this cruise. The anticipation is killing me. See, my hair is all over the place because I need to get a haircut, and I was holding off until tomorrow because I wanted it to be fresh. So I'm looking like $1,000,000, me and my mini-me. But let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Again, Create Your New Life. We do it every week, typically on Thursdays at 12 o'clock. I want to thank those that are taking part, getting an eye or a view of Brooks and Davis and what we have to offer. So it's a great opportunity for you to do that when you join, when you sign on. For those that aren't a part of the Brooks and Davis family yet. So we definitely want to thank you. We're always looking for some, talented individuals to come on board that we can develop, that we can train. We I called it connecting the dots. Connecting the dots, the reboot. So back in March of last year, 2016, so it's been over a year, I did a series called the Connecting the Dots series. And that was, 3 months, or maybe about, 3 months after we had originally started we had the very first Create Your New Life session, which was January 14th, 2016 was the very first session. So March of that year, we're a couple of months away from where we started. And I felt like we had did a lot of these concepts, and I felt like I needed to do connecting all of these concepts when it came from calendars and CRMs and lead generation and networking. I felt like I needed to do a session to where we brought it all together. Well, lots happened since March of 2016 up until today. A lot's happened with the company. A lot's happened with just our concept of how we do business, our sales process, the way that we handle lead generation. A lot of those things have happened, even with the introduction of the ADI, which is something that we've been talking about here over these last weeks or so. So I wanted to do a reboot of that. Like, I really felt like I needed to come back in and do a session that, again, brought it all together on taking all these concepts that we've talked about, that we've hit there and we've hit here and we've hit there, and show how it all works together so you can have an effective and successful real estate business. You can have the business where you make good money and you still have the time to do other things that you want to do, an effective and efficient business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The quote that I have, and it actually lines right up with what we're going to talk about, is if you want to grow, consistency is the key. If you want to grow, consistency is the key. That's a quote that was given by John C. Maxwell. I'm actually listening to one of his book studies, audio books right now. It's called the 15 Laws of Growth in Leadership. So I'm listening to that, and he actually gave that quote a couple of days ago. And I thought it felt great because when we're talking about these concepts and we're talking about connecting these dots, the key is really consistency. It's the same way day after day, the same way moment after moment, time after time, situation after situation. It's maintaining that momentum, continuing moving down that track, right? You want to do a 1,000-mile journey. They say a 1,000-mile journey starts with but one step. Well, for you to achieve that 1,000 miles, it's day after day, moment after moment, time after time, making that step, that one step to the next step, to that one step, to that next step. And it's just the mundaneness of it all, but being disciplined enough to stay on that track. And that's what Dr. Maxwell was talking about when he made this statement, that growth comes from being consistent in the path that you're taking and in the direction that you're going. So that's what we're seeing here with that quote. So let's go ahead and jump into, like we always, and see how the company has performed since we last met. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we can jump right into that. So we're still growing, right? Right now we have about $6 million worth of production as of today. And I mean, we're going to talk about an article that was in the Chronicle that I saw this morning. And it's just really speaking to what we're seeing, boots on the ground, what we're seeing here in our office as well. There's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of contracts coming in. There's stuff that's going on the board. There's people closing. There's money being made. It's a great time right now for not only the company, but also for those agents that are doing the things that we're telling them to do, that's taking advantages of the resources that we have in place. They're doing deals. They're making money. They're getting it in. The ones that participate in the Create Your New Lives and going back and reviewing them and taking advantage of the 7-dot training. Those that are actually utilizing those things are seeing great success when it comes here. So, you know, right now, as of today, $6 million worth of production. And, you know, so we're moving in the right direction. I like to see that. So as we continue to grow, we're closing deals, and it isn't one of those things where we're just stacking up, because we've been here to where we had this amount of money on the pending board, but nothing's closing. So it's just pent up closing. No, we're closing too. So that means that we're adding stuff. Like, we want to say congratulations to the people that have added stuff. Like Richard sent over some contracts. He got a couple of them that he added onto the board. Garland brought over a contract. He got something that he added on the board. So we want to definitely say congratulations to those two for putting themselves in a position to get paid, because that's what it's about, money in your pocket. And if anybody makes you feel some kind of way for it being that way, ignore them. If anybody that ain't out here making money want to come and give any other reason or rationale for why they doing what they doing, just let them talk. At the end of the day, scoreboard is how much money are you putting in your bank account, because money matters, and it allows you to do the things. It allows you to help who you want to help, do what you want to do, take care of who you want to take care of. There's nothing wrong with money. Even the good book, it doesn't say money is the root of all evil. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. It's what you do with it. Money is not inherently bad. It's like fire. Fire is not inherently bad. It's what you do with fire. Fire can cook food, which is a positive, and it can burn down buildings. Same thing with money. You can do positive things with money. You can do negative things with money. So don't trip. It's about making money. Let's get this money. Let's get this cash. Okay. Our top 5 agents. So my favorite agent still at the top, holding it down, holding that #1 spot. But we've had some movement. So Richard, with his contracts, with his production that he brought on board, he was able to jump in that #4 spot. Now remember, I talked about it last week. As of right now, you got to be doing you got to have at least 300,000 to even be considered in the conversation for the top 5. There was a time where, you know, $100,000 deal might have did it for you. Well, now times have changed. So you got to get out there and you got to get this production on the board. So Richard was able to do that and not just squeak on there. He was able to get in that top 4, and we lost Margaret, but that's okay. She's, one deal away. But that's our current top 5 right now. Congratulations to those individuals. Let's keep cranking it out. Maintain, protect your spot. Don't lose your position. And you know what you got to do to maintain your position. Now, we did bring in a new agent, so we absolutely want to welcome Mr. Kevin Itma. He came over to us from New Western Acquisitions. I wanted to try a new company, a new way of doing things. So I'm really excited about that relationship and what we can do for him, what he can do for us. So I'm really looking forward to that. So we have Kevin Itma. We definitely want to welcome him to the family, everybody. Okay, our 60-day cycle. Now, again, we're cranking it out when it comes to that. That's all I've been talking about these last couple of times we've met. So where are we supposed to be? According to the goal, we're supposed to be at $3.4 million. And we're cranking out right now $5.1 million is where we are. We're a little less than $2 million more than where we should be. That is an awesome thing. Every new contract that we put on that board over the next 2 weeks is a record breaking. Every new contract that an agent brings in to add to that pending board, they've just contributed to us breaking a record. We're moving that goal up, and we're killing it. So $5.1 million. Let's keep it going. Let's keep making the second half greater than the first. We had the greatest first half in Brooks and Davis history, and we want to do even better when we round out this second half. Show you the bottom of that iceberg. So we're gonna keep going. Realtor recruitment rally. Always want to keep that in your face. Opportunity for you to generate that income. Utilize the resource that's on our website. Talk to people about the great things that we have going on. You can make some mailbox money. The opportunity is there. So before I go into our reboot of connecting the dots, I wanted to talk about an article that I read about in the Chronicle today. You have to subscribe to these things. Now, I'll admit it. I haven't been up on my reading, my current events. I haven't been up on that lately because I've been exerting a lot of energy and time as far as, bringing in our new real estate company manager, identifying the right fit for the company. Now that we've hired her, she's doing an excellent job, continuing to make sure that she understands how protocols and things work. So I personally haven't really been up on making sure that I get my reading in every day. But I'm, gradually getting myself back into it. But I was looking at the Chronicle today, and it just so happened they had an excellent article in there about which gave a good snapshot of where the Houston real estate market is right now. Now, although the article was really talking about the office vacancy rates, I thought it was a great article. It was greatly done because it took the vacancy rates for office space and it compared it to the residential single family real estate market. It compared the two, how one is soaring when it comes to the real estate residential market and how one is really lagging and trending in the opposite direction. So what I wanted to do, let's see. So this is the article. And again, it was in the Chronicle this morning. In Houston real estate, home sales soar even as office glut worsens. It was by Nancy Sarnoff and Dylan Bador. And again, it's a comparison. So it talks some about the Houston residential market. It talks some about the office market, the vacancy rate, and how the vacancy rate is increasing. And if you don't know what vacancy rate is, it just means how much office space is vacant, right? And they look at the rate of that. So it's extremely high. So that's what the article was about. Well, what I did was that I really pulled out the main parts that it spoke to when it came to the residential side. And I just want to do some commentary on it real quick. Now, those kind of articles and what I'm about to do now with the article is great social media stuff. It's great when you blogging. It's great stuff to send out as a blog post. It's great stuff when you're doing your newsletters to send out as a newsletter to hit them on a monthly basis. It's great information to put on your social media, whether Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's identify and solidifying you as an expert. So, what I would typically do is I would take a link to the article, and then I would maybe point out some things, give my commentary around it. Well, one of the things that it talked about in the article was that the residential segment last month, we closed 8,414 single homes were closed, and that was a record for the city of Houston. That we had never closed 8,414 single family homes ever. That was the largest 1 month sales volume in Houston history. And we beat the record that we set last month. So last month was the most sales volume. I mean, the month before was the most sales volume. And now June is the most sales volume. So they're breaking records. Now, it goes right into the conversation that I just had about how Brooks and Davis is performing, right? Brooks and Davis is riding a wave that the city of Houston is experiencing. We're on the back of where the market is trending, right? We're on an uptick. We're in an uptick, right? We've latched on to where the market is, and we're riding that thing. Now, this is the thing. You have to be able to take advantage of times like these, right? And the best way that you take advantage of times like these is during the down markets. Now, let me tell you what we were doing during the down markets. During the down markets, we were setting up foundation. We were putting in systems. We were putting in processes to where once things did rebound, we weren't overwhelmed with the level of volume that could come in. So we positioned ourselves as a company, and it's the same thing that you need to be doing as an agent. You need to position yourself to where you can handle the influx. See, we beg and we say, man, I want to close, I want to close all these deals. I want to make all this money. I want to close 5 deals a month, 7 deals a month. I want to make 100,000, 200,000. We say we want to do all of that, but we never build the capacity to be able to handle that. We beg to let the heavens bring down the rains, bring down the manna, but we never put ourselves in a position to where we build enough bucket to take all the rain. We build enough tub to handle all the manna. We don't do that. So that's why a lot of times, a lot of agents, people that are in this profession, they go years and years with only wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking. You're not putting yourself in a position to handle it. So where you get yourself ready to be able to capitalize on a hot market, because Houston's market is hot right now. It's hot. For you to be able to capitalize on a hot market and make a boatload of money, it's during those down ticks where you don't have a lot of activity going, but you're focusing on making sure your floor and your foundation is solid enough and your tub is big enough for when things turn over. Because what we always hear, real estate is cyclical. We know it's going to come back. It's going to come back. So we also know that it's going to slow down. We know we don't know how long it's going to be like this, but we know at some point it's going to go in the other direction. So that's why you also have to be good at managing your finances, because at some point it's going to slow down, right? And you got to make sure that you can handle that slowdown as you continue to move forward. So don't go crazy and spending all your money that you're making. All right. But 8,414 single family homes, that was an 8.3% increase over the same month. This is excellent information, again, to send to your audience and giving them an update on what it is and let them hear your opinion around it. Like that was what I just gave was my opinion around the article, right? And I'm giving it to you all. But it's the same thing that you can do to your audience. Just, I mean, something as simple as, wow, you know, 8,414 single family homes. That's a historical high. I'm really seeing that in my business. If you're interested in selling your home, it's a great time to put it on the market because buyers are out there and they're buying. And if you're a buyer, you're interested in purchasing a home, it's a great time. The reason that we're able to sell this many properties is because interest rates are low, because money's so cheap. And since it's so cheap, if you want to buy it, now's the best time to do it. You can put whatever spin on it you want to put on it, but you got to see yourself. It can't be, look at what I ate for lunch. Stop that, right? It can't be, hey, look at me hanging out on the beach. This is what I did on last weekend. Or, you know, I'm out here hanging in, you know, out of town, doing my thing. Like, cut that out, all right? You're a business professional. Give people a reason to pay attention to you. Or let me clarify. Give the right people a reason to pay attention to you. It ain't all about how big your social media platform is if you got a whole bunch of people looking at you that can't buy houses or that can't do anything with real estate. You just got a bunch of eyes on you looking at you. That ain't helping your bottom line. You want to get the right people to pay attention to you that may be doing something when it comes to real estate, whether selling or buying or investing or whatever, doing that in the next month or 6 months or 12 months or 18 months. You want those people to continue to pay attention to you. So once they get to that point, boom, they're hiring you. All right. So this is good. This is a good way to do that. Also in the article, it talks about 4.4 month supply. So what does that mean? That means that our housing inventory is, you know, okay. When you see the housing inventory number increasing, what you should be feeling, and what we're feeling is that it's taking a little longer to sell your listings, right? And that's what we're feeling a little bit. It's taking a little longer. Once before, you put that bad boy out there. Now, there are still some areas, you put that sign in the yard and you get a contract the same day. They are. But they're also in some of those areas that was happening like that maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Well, it's not happening like that anymore. And we're starting to see that, like in Brunswick. There was a time in Brunswick, boom, you put that sign in the yard, it's done. And depending on the area of Brunswick or the size, we are still seeing that. But we have one now in Brunswick, and it's taking a little longer. It's taking a little more effort in that area. So that when you see that month supply number go up, then that's what you should be feeling, and we are feeling that. They also talked about single family homes are ahead of last year's volume by 7.4%. So we're already ahead as of July. The amount of sales that we've done and the amount of production volume annually, we're ahead by almost 7.5%, almost 8% of last year. So again, we're trending, and we're trending in the right direction. So, and again, that's hitting a high. We're hit a historical high when it comes to the median single family home. It's almost 240,000. That's crazy. Let me put that in perspective to you. That means the median house in our metroplex is $240,000. And we're already talking about an affordable housing situation. This thing's getting worse. Man, housing is getting expensive in the city, right? It says that $240,000 number is 4% more than last month. $4,000. $4,000 more. It's increased by $4,000 over a 30-day period. That's crazy. So $240,000 and $6,000 over the same time, year over year from last year. So that's crazy. Anyway, this is, and all of this again is according to the Houston Association of Realtors. Let's see. All right. Okay. So that's just an example of how to take content and put your spin on it. How do you take articles? You know, don't just post the article. Yeah, sometimes you can just post the article, but it's really good to kind of give your take, give your spin on somebody else's content, because I believe that that's just as effective as you creating stuff on your own. You coming up with your own thoughts and your own concepts and you writing them, I think it's just as effective as if you taking somebody else's information and you reading it and putting your own spin on it. I definitely agree with that. So now let's go ahead and let's reboot this connecting the dots. Let's reboot this. Again, the whole point of connecting the dots when I did it originally was I wanted to tie it all. I want to tie it all in together, all of these different concepts that we had talked about that first couple of months of the Create Your New Life. That's what I want to do. I want to tie it all together. So the way that I'm going to do it this time is I've created this Realtor success funnel to give, and I remember I created that to give us a visual of how the real estate process, or how a real estate process really flows, really. Because really with real estate, all it is, it's a single process that you multiply over a number of different transactions. But for the most part, the flow is the same, right? So the amount of money that you have is really dependent on the amount of times you're able to duplicate this single flow of how we get there, this single funnel. So what I want to do is I want to take that and I want to take my connect the dots and we're going to merge them together, and I'm going to use that to show how we can really connect all of these dots of all these concepts that we've talked about. All right. So here's the Realtor success model again. This is our funnel, right? And remember, the point is to go from leads to money, right? Real estate lead to money. It's simple, right? Now, it may not be easy. It may not be easy to do for most people, but it's a simple concept. We just want to go from real estate lead to getting paid. Boom. So how does that look? Well, you got to start with first generating a real estate lead. So the first dot that we need to connect is, how do you generate the real estate lead? Well, I talked about it earlier. One way of doing it is having quality content on your social media platform, right? First of all, having a social media platform, right? See, a lot of people hear that, well, I don't spend time with social media. That's a waste of time. I don't post nothing. You know, I don't get nothing from that. You know, that's a waste of time. So you'll hear a lot of so-called experts say that don't do social media. A lot of these experts say that, you know, social media is a waste of time. It's just a reason for an agent not to get out there and do the time-tested sales techniques like beating the pavement, knocking on doors. You'll hear that. I still think you do need to do the time-tested real estate techniques, but you gotta move with the times. There's plenty of opportunity on social media if you do it the right way. So that was just an example of how to generate leads from the social media platform, right? You be intentional about growing your social media platform. And what does that mean? So we talk about networking. If you go to an event and you get a business card and you meet that person, right? Then you need to, as a part of your onboarding process, as a part of connecting these dots, you need to take their information and you need to go to Facebook, you need to go to LinkedIn, you need to go to Twitter, and you need to invite them to connect. You send them an invite on LinkedIn, you send them a friend request on Facebook, you follow them on Twitter, right? And it takes all of about 60 seconds to do that, right? It's just a matter of creating a system around it and having the discipline to be consistent in that system. But that's what you do. You go network. So that's a piece of it, right? You go network, you get the information, you go find them on social media, you add them to your social media platform, right? So now that's you building your audience, because when you send the invite on LinkedIn. Now, everybody's not going to accept your invitation. I get it. But a lot of people are going to accept your invitation because you asked. Everybody's not going to accept your friend request, but a lot of people. And see, the thing is that you have a greater chance of them accepting it because you just met them out and about. You had a conversation with them. You were memorable. You participated in the network. So you have a better chance of them saying, oh yeah, I'll follow. I'll let this guy follow me, or I'll follow this guy. You have a better chance of that happening. So that's a way to generate leads. That's one way to position yourself in generating leads. Okay. What's some other ways for you to generate leads? Well, you always got for sale by owners, right? Zillow makes it easy for you to where they have the for sale by owner, where for sale by owners can put their properties on the internet for sale. You have the Texas for sale by owner magazine. You know, a lot of people don't. I mean, we're afraid of for sale by owners because we're afraid of rejection. But I just don't think that people understand how to work with for sale by owners. But really, for sale by owners are gold because they're people that you know what they want. They want to sell their house. If you are able to get them as a listing, well, you know, listings bring other listing leads and other buyer leads, and also it puts you in an opportunity where you can double dip the deal and get the whole 6% commission. Like, it's the best type of scenario. It nets you the most amount of money. So being proactive around for sale by owners is a great way to grow and build your business. But again, you have to be intentional and consistent. If, you know, is every for sale by owner that you talk to going to be happy to hear from you? No. Is every for sale by owner that you reach out to going to allow you to list their house? Absolutely not. But as long as you remain consistent in whatever system, whatever plan that you put in place, you increase your chances of adding to your listing inventory for that 30 days, for that 90 days, for that 6 months. You can add one listing here, 2 listings there, 3 listings there, 4 listings there as you work the for sale by owners. The for sale by owners isn't the only avenue, and it isn't the only answer to you having a great real estate company. But what I'm saying is that it can add to you being successful in that arena. So that's another way to generate leads. What's another way to generate leads? Your circle of influence, right? Your family members, right? The church that you attend, the job. You may be part-time, so you going to your job and finding ways to bring in the real estate conversation. You want to bring in when you're at church, you want to bring in the real estate conversation. Now, every Sunday, and now mind you, I'm over the Christian adult education. I'm a deacon at my church. I'm over the Christian adult education with the teachers. I have to do my teachers meeting, teachers training, and students come to me, and I manage that ministry. But even with that, every Sunday, it's on my column. Every Sunday. I don't have a problem with people at my church knowing that I do real estate. I shake my pastor hand. He sees it every Sunday. It's right there that I do real estate. Because if I'm going to spend my time, my talents, my tithes, and see, my pastor don't have a problem with me showing that I'm a realtor, because he know every time I get that commission check, he get a check. He see it. So he ain't tripping. But I had that R on me. And, you know, this R, right now I have 2 people, church members, buying houses. I had church members selling houses. One of the builders that I'm working with, that's where I met him. I met him at my church. Listen, the opportunities. I'm the president of the PTO. You know, kids go to school. Y'all that have kids, get involved in your PTO. Right now, we got close to a $300,000 deal on the board right now from a PTO parent. Met him at the PTO. We just sold houses to teachers, right? I'm the assistant principal at my little girl's school. We talking right now. He want to do some investment in real estate. And every time I go to that school, guess what I got? I either got the R on the collar, I got the R on the shirt. All these parents, the parents that I'm on the PTO with, I done went to Facebook so they can be my friends. I done went to LinkedIn. I done went to Twitter to try to find them. So not only do they see the R on my collar, on my chest, whenever I send a post about real estate or something, they see that too. You're not gonna forget that I do real estate. That was a promise that I made to myself a long time ago, because you would hear those people be like, oh man, I forgot you did real estate. Oh man, I just bought a house. It get crazy sometimes, but it ain't gonna happen to me, not to the kid. If you don't use me, you can't come to me and say, I forgot you did real estate. You can't say it. I was having a text conversation with an individual. I got a new phone, so their name ain't saved in my phone, but just out the blue, text conversation. Do you do commercial real estate? I went back and forth with them, and then just found out this morning who it was, and it ended up being one of my past clients. Didn't even know it. Hadn't talked to him in a while, to the point to where I didn't recognize the phone number, but past client looking to purchase some real estate. So once you get that snowball going, the lead generation piece is really going to kind of take care of itself, but you got to build it. And again, you got to be consistent in how you execute it. You'll get to the point to where it comes. I got 2 leads yesterday, 2 referrals, well, 1 referral and a past client. Right? When I do my pecking order of the best type of leads, the best type is a past client. Number 1, hands down, the best type of lead is always a past client. Why? Because if they come back, that means they're telling you they appreciated the level of service that you gave them. Right? So a past client lead is always the best lead. The rapport is already built. The competency has already been proven. It's the best kind of lead. So with past clients, all you got to do is make sure they don't forget you. You just got to put stuff in place to where you make it easy for them to get in contact with you. So that's the one thing about my past clients. When we close on a deal, I give them a refrigerator magnet. I find them on social media. You know, I try to get them to save my number in their phone. I make it easy for them to reach back out to me. Number 1, to reach back out to me and to not have to guess if I'm still doing real estate. My past clients ain't never got to guess that, right? So it made it easy for them to reach back out to me. So past clients are always the best type of client. And then after that, referrals. Why? Because that triangle of trust, again, it's already built. They're going to, because that person trusts the person that referred you, you don't have to work as hard as far as building rapport, right? So that's the second kind. And then it just kind of goes on from there, all the way down to, you know, to internet leads, you know, sign calls, those are leads. So there's so many areas that you can go to as far as generating leads. The biggest deal when it comes to this part of the funnel and the lead generating piece is, number 1, you don't know how many leads you're going to need to make the kind of money that you want to make. You don't know yet. So since you don't know how many leads you're going to need to generate, it should never have a ceiling. Your lead generation should never have a ceiling. You should never ever get to the point to where you feel like, you know what, we generating enough leads. I don't need to generate no more leads. You should never get to that point. You should always, as you continue to do this business, always look for new areas and opportunities to generate more and more and more leads. Always. I need more leads. You should never get satisfied. Never get complacent with the amount of leads that you're generating. Because worst case scenario, if you don't have any other systems in place to work the amount of leads that you have coming in, worst case scenario, you can always refer them to somebody else, let them do the work, and you just get the referral fee. It's like Bluebell ice cream. Eat all you can, right? You work the leads you can work, and then the ones you can't work, sell them to these other agents that ain't lead generating. Sell it to them. You get you some mailbox money. Let them do the work. You make the income of it. So lead generating, always be looking to generate leads. Always look for opportunities and areas to where you can generate leads. when it comes to this piece. So that's the very first part of the funnel. It's getting as many leads as possible into the system. All right, so now, once you get the leads into the system, then it goes into the next area of it. It begins the sales process of it, right? The contact. So how do you handle the contact? How do you handle when the call comes in? Well, that's where you got to pull in your client relationship management system, right? And the client relationship management system not only helps you with the contact, it also helps you with the management of, as well as the generation of the lead. We talked about, we don't want the past client to forget us. So you plugging them in, once you close on the transaction with them, you putting them into a rotation in your client relationship management system to where you're calling them once a quarter or, you know, twice a month. Then that's your client relationship management system helping you stay top of mind to help that client again, as well as hit that client up or that past client up for referrals, right? So, you know, you bring your client relationship management system in at that point as well to assist with that, right? But the biggest thing with your client relationship management system is, number one, increasing and your database. Now you increase your audience through social media, right? But you also increase your audience through your database. And your client relationship management system helps you organize that, right? The bigger the database, the more money, the more opportunity to generate income. The bigger the database, right? So we talked about, you have to have the systems in place to be able to handle. I can make that statement and I can say you need 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people in your database. You know, as of right now, I have mine, my CRM.
What's your phone number?
And listen, I don't want you guys to think that I'm just telling you stuff. These are things that we're doing. As of right now, this is, we use Wise Agent. It's our database. It's coming. There we go. All right. We have close to 12,000 people in our database. 12,000 people. So, but look, and we're constantly looking to add more and more and more people to the database. Now, the importance of the CRM is that it allows you to organize it. Because although I have 12,000 people, if I can't effectively navigate this database to get to the particular people that I want to get to at the time, if I can't just block out my past clients, these are all our past clients. If I can't block out, these are all the builders, or these are all the investors. If I can't do that, then I'm not putting myself in the best position to make substantial amount of money in this business. So that's where the CRM comes in at that part of the funnel, is right there. It helps you manage the leads. You bring your lead in, right? So now the person that texted me yesterday, although I didn't have their name saved in my phone number, I did have them in my database under past client, right? So it's easy for me to reach back out to them. I had a conversation with some good friends of mine today. One of them's the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club. Well, best believe, you know, my wife asked for her phone number yesterday. I didn't have it, but luckily her husband wanted to talk to me today, so I was able to get her number. Well, they were in the CRM. His information was in there. Hers wasn't. But when he gave me her number, guess what I did? I went to the CRM. I found them. I put her number in there. It took all of about 60 seconds. See, it's the little bits that you look up. You have the mountain, right? The Great Wall of China was built one brick at a time, right? The Grand Canyon, look, that thing was built by the Colorado River. And all the Colorado River did for all of these generations, all of these centuries was just flow. All the river did was flow. And every day, every second, every moment, as that water was flowing, it kept creating. The canyon would go a little lower, but the water's just flowing, just over time. And it kept going lower and lower and lower, and that water's just flowing and flowing and flowing. And you look up, you got this Grand Canyon. And all the river did was just kept flowing, right? And it would just take a little piece of it and put a little more of the groove in there as it kept going. That's the same thing with building this business. You get in the right direction. The Colorado River was moving in the right direction, and then you just kind of be consistent over time and wear that thing down. And then you'll look up and you got this massive real estate business generating you massive amount of money, allowing you to live this great life. And you'll look up and you'll be like, man, it just seemed like it came out of nowhere, but it didn't. You were every day working towards it in the right way, building it the right way. So that's what all of this is about. So you bring in your CRM, your client relationship management system. Whenever you get your new leads, you make sure you plug them in there. You create a category. You can create a category in your CRM that says leads, right? And so now you can break it down by month. You can break it down by year. You can break it down by area. But the thing is that you want to break it down because you can also utilize it as a way to monitor and to measure how effective you're being, right? So it's one thing for me to say you need to lead generate, but how do you know if you're being effective in your lead generating if you're not measuring where the stuff's coming from, right? Yeah, let me show you something else. So this is how the corporate team does it, how we keep track of our leads. We use what we call it a lead tracker. So on our lead tracker, and again, now that we brought in our new company manager, so she's gonna help us get back on track on how we were doing this. But every month we create a little spreadsheet that tells us how many leads we got in. So this is the month of July. Now, up until July, we hadn't been doing really, really good as far as keeping track of this stuff. But we're doing a whole lot better now. So look, you have what type of lead it is. You have the source that it came from. So let's see, make it a little bigger for you. All right, so you got the type of lead. You got the source, where it came from. You got a little bit of information about it. Type it. There we go. All right, so we have the little legend that talks about the different types, as well as the different sources. All right. So it allows us to measure where our stuff's coming from. So as of today, for the month of July, we have 30 leads. See, we have 30 leads that have been added. So between the company manager and the virtual assistant, we're capturing all of our leads as well as the sources and things like that. And we even go a step further. When we get a lead and say a lead's been transitioned, we keep track of where that lead is, right? So right now that lead is with Margaret. That lead is at Blackstone Mortgage. Those two are at Black Loan. We have some with Garland, some with April. So, as a company, we know where our leads are. Now, with you as an agent, you want to know where they are. Are they in credit repair? Are they talking to the mortgage company? Once you get to the point to where maybe you are having a whole bunch of leads that you can't work and you got to refer them to another realtor, well, you want to put them in there. So you know where your referral. Maybe they're doing business in another city or another state. Well, you sign a referral agreement, you want to forget about it, but you at least need to have them somewhere to where you can go check on them at some point. And you can do it Like you can do it here, like we're doing it, or you can simply do it inside of your client relationship management system. But the point is that you want to get in a situation to where you can constantly track it, you can monitor it, you can organize it. Here's our June lead. This is for June. So for the month of June, we had 74 leads for the month of June. 74 leads. And again, we may have had more than that. We just started really putting ourselves in a situation to where we can do a better job of keeping track, right? So, you know, I would say in August or September, we'll probably really get a true number of how many leads we're generating. Oh, you know what? I made a mistake. So actually, yeah. You know what? These numbers ain't right. We actually had more than that. Let's see how many leads we really had. Boom, look at that. I was shortchanging myself. We've had 48 leads come in 13 days. We've had 48 leads come into this office. So we're going to see, you know, where we land at as far as this month, but we're on a strong pace. The point is that that's where it comes in as far as when you connecting these dots around handling the leads, and more leads, and getting into the contact piece, because the leads, and the contact piece, that includes your follow-up, right? And fortune is in the follow-up. I know we've heard, I mean, if you've been around sales for any amount of time, then you've heard that statement, and you've heard them say fortune is in the follow-up. So you want to make sure that you have the system set up to where you can be effective in your follow-up. So again, that's why I said that that's where the CRM comes in as well, because you can create a call list. When you generate that lead, say you're out and about and you're talking to that individual and they say, I want to buy a house, but we don't want to do anything. We're in a lease for the next 6 months. So we can't break our lease. We at least got to stay there for the next 6 months. Or we just signed a new lease, a new year lease. Okay, well, you want to still capture that lead. You want to capture it, but you need to place it somewhere. You need to place it on ice until it gets closer to that time. So you place them in your client relationship management system. So you get the lead, you paste it in your client relationship management system for you to check in with them in, you know, a couple of months. I say don't go no further than 2 months. You check in with them in 2 months, even though they said that they're not renewing their lease. I mean, their lease isn't up for another year. You don't want to forget them, because what you'll find is things change, right? And unfortunately, people don't tell you when things change. So you just got to catch them. So check in with them. Hey, you know, I met you out and about 2 months ago. Just want to check in, see how you were doing, and see if everything is remained the same. They say, well, yeah, thanks for checking in. Yeah, we're doing great. You know, nothing's changed. Say, okay, great. Well, you know what? You guys keep going. If you need anything, I'm here. You know, I'll check in again in a couple of months or so. And they'll be like, okay, great, not a problem. And boom, you going back into you update your notes in your client relationship management system, and then you add them to your call list for you to follow up with them again in a couple of months. That's all it is about. That's how this thing works. So now you take that simple scenario and that simple system and you multiply it. So now when you're looking for, when you have the time, you're doing your lead generation and you're like, who am I going to call? Who are the people that I'm going to call? You know, over time, you should have more people to call than you have enough time to call people, right? Over time, because as you continue to add people to your database, as you continue to have conversations with people, You're going to have past clients. You're going to have leads. You're going to have prospects. You're going to have family members. You're going to have, past and colleagues. You're going to have all kind of people that you're going to be calling, checking in with, reminding that you do real estate, and asking if they know anybody that needs real estate assistance. So it's going to catch up. But the only way that you're ever going to get into a position to where you have a multitude of leads to follow up with on a consistent basis is if you have your client relationship management system involved, as well as some mechanism or some way of tracking to see if there's a level of growth that is taking place. And you can do both of those through your client relationship management system. All right. So now we've talked about, the generating the leads. We've talked about the contact and how to really position yourself to handle the follow-up piece of it. One of the things that I talked about a year or so ago when I originally did Connecting the Dots, and I hadn't brought it up here recently, but I need to do like a refresher on your calendar, right? One of the aspects, and we've been going through our ADI program, and one of the key aspects of the ADI program is that you get to a point to where I show, right? These are the 3 most important habits when it comes to real estate, managing your real estate, or growing and managing your real estate business. The 3 most important habits. Because one of the things that I tell in the ADI is I'm trying to get you to adjust your habits. See, all of it is habitual. It's what you do on a consistent basis. What are your habits? So it's all habitual. So I tell them these are the 3 most important habits that I'm trying to instill in you once this is all said and done. And the first habit is to operate by a calendar. Time block your schedule and operate by the time block that you set up. That's the first thing. That's the first habit. The second habit, and we're talking every day. These are daily habits, something that you do every day. Time block your calendar, operate by your calendar. The second one is to, we talked about it today, build every day, add people to your database every day, add people to your audience on social media every day. Build your audience, build your database every day. And the third habit, and again, habits, you get it instilled in your head. It just comes natural. If you don't do it, it's uncomfortable. See, right now, if you do it, it's uncomfortable. You want to turn it into a situation to where if you don't do it for that day, it's uncomfortable, right? So that's when you know you've created that habit. The third thing is being effective in your lead generation time. You want to be effective. That's why we do that scoreboard. How many dials, how many contacts, how many consultations? You want to measure it, because if you're not being effective, you need to make adjustments in what you're doing during lead generation time. So the 3 habits: every day, operate by your time block calendar, add people to your database and your audience, be effective in your lead gen time. Those are the 3 habits. So one of the things, the reason I brought that up was because I wanted to revisit the very first habit, operating by your time block calendar, right? That's very key, because when we're looking at the funnel and I'm talking to you about, you got to lead generate, you got to create all these leads. Well, you have to be intentional about being able to handle that aspect of the funnel. Because remember, you'll never get here. If you're ineffective in managing this part up here, then you'll never get here, right? The greater you are as far as being effective with the things that flow in and out on this part right here, number one, the faster you'll get here, and the more that you'll have at the bottom once you get there. So the way that you champion that is through being effective in your time block in your calendar. Now mine looks crazy, right? Because I have a crazy life. So that's why it looks like that. But let's go to, I'm gonna go to September. right? So that probably puts us in the best position to see. I haven't scheduled any appointments or any of that other stuff. That's on my calendar. Well, on my calendar, you don't really see lead generation. But before I became president of Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, well, my point that I'm making is that although you don't see lead generation, what you do see is that I still time block my calendar, that there are still blocks of time that are focused on me to do certain things. All right. What I'm telling you is that you have got to get your calendar to where you budget how you're going to use your time, right? We always hear about people and them budgeting their money, but we rarely hear about people and them budgeting their time. And time is more valuable than money. You can make a mistake with your money and lose all your money and still make more money. But if you make a mistake with your time and you lose your time, you can't get your time back. It's gone. It's done. So this here is us budgeting, you budgeting your time. They say when you budget your money, every dollar has a name, meaning that no penny goes unaccounted for. Well, it's the same thing here. No second needs to go unaccounted for. And then this is where you do it. You do it with a time block, your time blocking calendar. So when you come to lead generation, you have to determine how much time every day am I going to devote to lead generation. Now, when I was practicing real estate, 3 hours, baby, 9 to 12 every day, 9 to 12. My day got started at 8, but to everybody else, my office hours was from 9 to 5. So I had that 8 to 9 time slot to what I call it getting ahead of the game, right? So although I'm telling everybody else I'm not opening until 9, I'm getting started at 8 o'clock. It allows me to get ahead of the game, because once everybody knows that you open, things start turning. Calls start coming in. People start wanting responses. So 8 o'clock, it's an opportunity for you to get ahead of the game. So from 8 to 9, that was that opportunity. And then from 9 to 12, that was the lead. I was lead gen. It was focused on lead generating. Now, I get it. One of the biggest challenges that we have, especially when it comes to lead generation, is protecting that lead gen time, because everything happens. People want to call in, problems start happening, then you start getting pulled into the transaction side of things, and you get pulled. Like, that's the hardest time to protect. That's the easiest. Lead generation time is the easiest thing that we're willing to give away. And I believe that because lead generation is future money. Like, we have to visualize what I'm doing today. I'm going to realize the benefit of what I'm doing today at some future date. But when I get this phone call about this deal that I got on the contract, that's right now, right? So that's why it's a lot easier for us to deflect to the right now stuff versus understanding we got to have a healthy balance, a very healthy balance of both the right now and the right now and the future stuff. So that's what we have to be on the same. That's what we have to be disciplined around. That's what it is. Discipline. You got to be disciplined to not allow that lead gen time to be pulled away from you. Now, there are ways that you can handle that. When I was doing lead gen from 9 to 12, one time I tried where I would give my cell phone to my assistant and I would do lead gen from the office line. I had a second office line, so I would do lead gen from the office line because I have everything that I need. I have my CRM, I have the lead tracker stuff, I have everything that I need. There was at one point where I had built up during my lead gen. I had created like a little dashboard. I would stand up. I had my headphones in, the headphones that was connected to the phone. It was one time with lead gen, I was using a phone system to where it would do automatic dialing for me. I didn't even have to dial the numbers. It would just go through the list. I done did all of that when it came to lead generating, right? But the biggest thing was you got to stay committed to not allowing anything other than you lead generating to take that time. So whether you choose that to be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever frame you pick, you got to stay committed to protecting that and making sure that you're effective while you're doing it, right? So it's one thing to say I've time blocked 3 hours of lead gen, and then you go from 9 to 12, and then, you know, you say, okay, I did my lead gen from 9 to 12, but then if you truly take score of it, you did 3 hours, and say you call 6 people because you started doing transaction stuff. You didn't do lead gen, you know, or say you called 10 people in 3 hours. Like, there has to be some mechanism. Like the scoreboard that we came up with was, if we're not leaving messages, then you should be able to dial at least 9 calls per hour. Meaning, so what that means is you have to just be focusing on lead gen. You don't have time to do any of the other stuff, right? So if it's 9 dials an hour, 3 contacts per hour, you know, 1 consultation. For every 3 people you talk to, you should be able to get at least 1 consultation if you follow the scripts, right? So that means if you got 3 hours of lead gen time, that's 27 calls. Should have called 27 people. You should have spoke with 9 people, right? You should have 3 appointments, right? An appointment an hour. So now what also does is you got to be effective in your conversation with people. That's why the script and the pre-qualification is important. So you can't just be getting on the phone with somebody and spending all day on the phone with them. You know, get to the resolution that you're trying to get to with that person while you're on the phone with them, so you can put them where you need to put them, and then you can move on to the next to the next deal, to the next thing, to the next phone call, to the next person, right? That's where the skill comes in. You have to become skilled in those things. So we're still here when it comes to the contact. So how do we connect the dots when it comes to the contact? We've generated the leads. We've talked about that. We've put the leads in a place to where we can manage the leads. We can keep track of the leads. We've also talked about where we can put them to where we can follow up with the leads, because we know fortune is in the follow-up. Once before, I showed a slide that says that 80% of conversions happen between the 5th and the 12th phone call. Yet less than 80% of realtors call leads more than 2 times, right? So you see where there's a disconnect? If less than, actually it was less than 90%. If less than 90% of realtors are calling prospects or calling leads less than 2 times, yet conversion of a lead or a prospect happens between the 5th and 12th time, you can see why there's a major disconnect of, number 1, realtors not making no money, and number 2, customers feeling like realtors don't ever call them back. Technically, they're not. So guess where the money's to be made? The money's to be made in the gap. You just need to be the realtor that calls more than 2 times, that calls more than 3 times, that calls more than 4 times, that calls more than 5 times, that calls more than 6 times. So before, our follow-up thing was you need to call more than 7 times. Well, now that I got this new data, it's 12 times. We don't give up. We don't give up the lead until after we done called them 12 times. So it's very important that you have the follow-up stuff in place. That's why it's that important that you have the follow-up stuff in place. So you have the follow-up, but you got to have the calendar to where you've time blocked that time for you to lead generate every single day, Monday through Friday. So Monday through Friday, there was a block on my calendar, 9 to 12 lead generation. And it went like that across the board, Monday through Friday, right? And that was a way of me knowing, did I work towards being successful in this business? Was I intentional about these areas as I'm walking through this funnel? Listen, it's a very simple model. It's a simple model, but it's complex, the execution and the explanation of it. That's why I'm having to take the time to go through it. That's how, you know, I'm having to take, 15 months after I originally had a conversation about connecting dots. I'm coming back to it because the thing is the model didn't change. I just have a greater understanding of it, and I can better articulate and explain how it all comes together, right? But it hasn't changed. It's been the same for, you know, it stood the test of time. What I'm teaching you isn't something that I came up with. This is the model, right? All I've done is that I've refined it and I've clarified it. And now I'm using it as a teaching opportunity to help develop and teach to where you all can understand and build this funnel, build this model and execute it. So you got to have your time block in there, all right? So the contact, we talked about the follow-up. We've talked about being effective in your lead gen. Well, how does the contact take? And see, that's something else that you need to be measuring. How many contacts am I making every day? How many people am I talking to about the fact that I do real estate? How many social media posts have I responded? Direct messages that I responded to, reminding people that I do real estate? How many past clients have I called? How many, as I was networking, how many people did I engage in, you know, on this day? How many, you know, emails have I responded to or have I received? How many text messages have I responded to or have I received when it comes to somebody inquiring about real estate or asking me about real estate or giving me an opportunity to remind them that I do real estate and ask them if they know of anybody about real estate? How much of that stuff is taking place right here? So I have the, you know, call list that's helping me with my follow-up. So I have the people that I'm just following up with, that I'm counting those as contacts, but I also have the people that are new, that don't know nothing about me, the cold calling that I'm counting as contacts, as well as, you know, so you got the follow-ups and you got the new people, the new prospects, and you're adding all of those together and you're measuring them on a daily basis. Well, the way that you handle contacts will allow you to be able to have more contacts. So that's why it's very important when it comes to the scripts. See, so the script here is a very important piece. The thing about the script is the script allows you to focus on the only thing that matters when you're having a contact with a person. The only thing that matters when you're having a contact with a person is the very next thing, the consultation. If your conversation is not driving to either you're going to have a consultation with them or you are not. Either they are in a position to have a consultation or they are not in a position to have a consultation. That's it. And it does not take you a very long time to determine if a person is in a position to have a consultation and willing, we'll say willing and able to have a consultation, or if they are not willing and able to have a consultation. That does not take more than, at the most, 3 minutes. It should take you no more than 3 minutes to determine if a person is in a position to have a consultation, willing and able, or not willing. And that's whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on text message, whether on email, whether face-to-face while you're networking, whether on the phone. It doesn't take that long to determine, again, the person's willing and able to have a consultation. The person is not willing and able to have a consultation. But that's the only place that you go from contact. You don't go nowhere else, right? So you being on the phone for 10 minutes with somebody, that's a waste of time. That's being ineffective. And you're not operating your business the right way, right? I'm not telling you to rush people off the phone. I'm not saying that. But you have to be conscious of the amount of time that you're devoting, because there is somewhere that you're trying to go. It's kind of like, I don't know about with you, but I walk kind of fast. And I guess the reason that I walk fast is because I always have somewhere that I'm going. But when I'm out and about and I'm with people that are just walking super slow, I'm like, man, you ain't got nowhere to go. Especially when you're trying to get around them. You're like in a crowd, you're trying to get around them, you can't get around them, and they just taking their time. I'm like, man, you ain't got you ain't got nothing that you could be doing other than just walking right here. It's the same thing. You know that you have something to do. You have somewhere to go. You're trying to accomplish something. So you got to push past that step, and it's got to be towards consultation. That's the only place that you're going towards. when it comes to this. So that's why it's very important that you guys utilize the scripts that are in the 7 training folder. That's where the scripts come into play. You got to utilize those scripts, because the point of the script is this. You're going to, oh, let me do this. That's, it takes us back to this little nugget right here, the rules of prospecting. That's why it's important that you utilize the scripts, because the scripts help you with this right here. What a lot of realtors are doing when we come to that part of the funnel, what a lot of realtors are doing, put this right here. All right. So when we come to this part of the funnel, the contact, what a lot of realtors are doing is that before they do rule number 1 and rule number 2, they jump right into rule number 3, and they're wondering why they're not being effective and successful in their contact, why they're not being successful right here. Now, remember, I told you, you got to be, for you to get here, you got to be effective in all of these areas. And the more money you have down here, that's the better you have to be, the more efficient you have to be, the more effective you have to be in these areas, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about being effective and efficient in these areas, because we know it's going to funnel down. It's going to determine how much money you have here at the bottom. How effective you are with your contact is going to determine how many clients that you have. How effective you are with your lead generation is going to determine, your lead generation and your lead follow-up is going to determine how many contacts that you're able to make. And how many contacts that you're making is going to determine how many consultations you're going on. And how many consultations you're going on, and how effective you are with consultations, how effective you are with your contacts is going to determine how many consultations that you're going to go on. And how effective and efficient you are with your consultations is going to determine how many clients that you can have and that you can work with. And how effective and efficient you are with working with your clients is going to determine how many contracts you're going to be able to get. And how effective you are with your contracts is going to determine how many closings you're going to have. And how effective you are going from contract to close is going to determine how much money you can have. See, so all we're talking about is efficiency and effectiveness. And that's what we're talking about. So for you to be efficient and effective with this contact, you got to utilize these rules of prospecting. Most people, when they get the lead and they get on the phone with them, they jump right to rule number 3, offering them as the solution. Well, you don't even know if they need what you're selling. And if a person hasn't agreed that that's what they need, they still ain't going to buy it. One of the things I talked about last year on that Connected Dots, I was talking about the Sprint store. I say, listen, if I go into the Sprint store, if I don't need a new phone, don't come try to sell me no phone, because I don't need no phone. And typically with me, I'm the type of person, now everybody ain't that type of person, but I'm the type of person, I only buy a new phone when I need a new phone. I ain't the type of person that just because a new iPhone came out, I go get that. That ain't me. I'm not that dude. Now there's some people out there that's who they are, but that ain't me. I only get one when I need one. So when I go to the Sprint store, because I may just be going in there with somebody else, when I go, you better identify if I need a phone or not. And if you don't identify if I need a phone, and you jump down to rule number 3, I'm tuned you off. I ain't even listening to you no more. Matter of fact, I'm trying to figure out something to say to you to where you'll leave me alone. Right? Now look, then you go to rule number 2. Well, say I do need a phone. But if I don't think I need a phone, then you still ain't gonna sell me. Now, I may very well need a phone and just don't know it. And I need somebody to show me that I need a phone. That may be the case. That may very well be the case, right? So you need to, so once that Sprint salesperson identifies that I need a phone, and I just don't know that I need a phone, and then he's able to show me that I thought I did not need a phone, but now I see that I do need a phone. Once I get there, boom, the third part is simple. It's easy to sell me at that point, because not only have you seen that I need it, You've also now convinced me that that's what I need. And now, because I'm in the Sprint store and y'all got the best phones, y'all got all these phones, and I ain't gonna feel like going nowhere else to get no phone. You got the sale. It's easy. But most people don't follow the rule. They break the rules of prospecting. And that's why they're not effective when it comes to the contact. Well, this is the thing about the rules of prospecting and the scripts. The script helps you properly do these rules. The scripts help you identify the need. This is the thing about identifying the need. Unless you build rapport, and see, the scripts help you build rapport. Unless you build rapport, the prospect is not going to be honest with you. Who is honest with people that they don't know? Who is honest with people that they don't like? They're not going to tell you the truth. They trying to get off the phone with you. And in most instances, they're going to tell you whatever they need to say for you to hang up the phone. They don't know you. So the script helps you build rapport, helps them get comfortable so you can have a true conversation and a true dialogue. That's what the scripts help you do. So they also help you identify the need. Once you build rapport and a person's got comfortable with you, then the script also has the questions that you need to ask to determine if they actually need what you have, or they need what you have, but which thing of what you have they need. Now listen, I get it. You know, we in real estate, we have egos. So, but let me bust our bubble. People don't always need you. They don't always need your service. You're going to call some for sale by owners that ain't going to need you. You're going to call some buyers that ain't going to need you. You're going to call some sellers that ain't going to need you. It's going to happen, right? Now, I would say 85% of them, there's something that you can offer them, but there's still 15% that ain't going to need you, period. So you got to be cool with that, right? And you got to be able to let people make it and say, all right, you know, you're right. You really don't need what I have. So it ain't no point you spending 10 minutes on the phone and then seeing that they don't need you, right? That's a quick phone call. That's a 2-minute phone call. That's a 3-minute phone call. You identify, hey, you know what? You really don't need what I have. I wish you well. If anything changes, call me. Move on to the next. Let's keep moving through it. So the script helps you with that, identifying the need, right? So then once you identify the need, then you gotta get them to agree with you on the need. Now the scripts, again, that's more of a rapport building piece, right? That's more of an objection handling, right? Allows you to deal with objections. For the most part, people don't understand. They just have to be educated, right? I use my Sprint scenario again. I may not know that I need a new phone. The Sprint salesperson sees that I need a new phone. Well, why can he see it and I can't see it? Because he's the specialist. He's the expert. He's the one that deals with the phones. He knows a whole bunch more about these phones than I know. So I didn't know enough to see that I needed it, right? That's the same thing that it is with clients. You know a whole lot more than they know. So that's why they don't see it and you see it. Therefore, you have to educate them. You have to give them the knowledge and you have to give them the information that they need so they can see that they need what they need. Most people come in there thinking that they need something completely different. Like they need you to meet them at a house to show them property. They don't need that. The only way that they need that is if they already got their pre-approval letter and they money for their down payment to where they can buy it. That's the only time that they need you to meet them at a property and show them. And even then, they still don't need it then because what they need is to have a consultation for you to educate them on the process, especially if they haven't done this before. And if they have done it before, they still need to meet with you and have a consultation so you can update them on the changes to the market, the changes to the process. They need to be educated, right? So that's what they need. They just don't think that they need that right now. What they think that they need is for you to show them a property, right? What a lot of agents do is because a person said they want us to show them a property, we feel like that's what they need because they said that that's what they need, and then we go with it. But we don't never think that, well, you know what? I probably don't need to give them that because that's not the best thing for them. And I'm really the person that's in the best situation to tell them what's the best thing for them because I'm the expert and this is what I do, right? I'm the doctor in this situation. Why would you don't go into the doctor's office and tell the doctor what you need? The doctor tells you what you need, right? So you would be a horrible, that doctor would get sued. He would get sued out of his pants if that's how he operated his business. That whatever the person said they needed, he gave it to them. Period. Doc, I need a prescription so I can go get these pills. The doc gave it to him. See, them kind of doctors that do that, them the ones be on the news going to federal prison, right? That ain't how doctors operate. You go and you tell a doctor what you need, the doctor's gonna say, well, no, let me ask you some questions. And then he started asking you these questions, and then he tells you, no, this is what you really need. And then he gets you to agree with him, and he explains to you why you thought you needed that, but you really need this. And you agree with him. You say, you're right, doc, that is what I need. And then he diagnoses you. I mean, he prescribes you, right? What they say, prescription without diagnosis equals malpractice. He prescribes you once he does his diagnosis. So that's all that I'm talking about when it comes to these scripts, when it comes to the rules of prospecting. I'm talking to you about being more effective and efficient in this area of the funnel. More effective and efficient in this area of the funnel, because the more effective and efficient that you are in the contact, the more consultations you will be able to have, right? So that's where we're going to stop today. But we are going to continue in this vein, continue connecting these dots, the 2017 reboot of connecting the dots to show how it all comes together, from CRMs to calendars to scripts to systems to all of it. How does it all work together ultimately for you to make money, for you to make more money, the most amount of money that you can make, reach your greatest potential in this business? That's the vein that we're going to be spending our time on. All right. So now look, I'm going on vacation. Woo! I'm out of here. We leave out on Sunday on the cruise. No phone, no internet, no nothing. Y'all are not going to be able to reach me. Period. Whew. 7 days out. Okay. So that means next Thursday, we will not be having to create your new life. Next Thursday. Okay. But that following Thursday, I'll be back and we're going to pick this up where we start talking about the consultation and how to be effective and efficient and how those things come together. All right. With that being the case, is there any coaching, any questions, anything we need before I wrap it up and get one day closer to hanging out on the high seas with my fam? Anything?
Hey, I got some.
What's up, Valerie?
Not much. So there is a guy, he wants to sell his house, but he has a tenant in it. They've been living in it for like 15 years.
Okay.
And, he asked me about listing it, but it sounds like it's a bunch of drama involved because he has to go through the process of trying to get this tenant evicted. And, I'm just,
okay.
I don't know. Should I even?
You got a couple of options. You can either work it, or if you want, you can refer it. Because and the reason I'm saying that is because, yeah, it is probably going to be some time and some effort involved in it. But you don't want to just turn it away. At least you can get a referral fee on it.
Okay.
And somebody that does have the time and the effort, because really it sounds complicated, but you don't have to evict him out. He can still do his own eviction. And then, just like we talked today, you just follow up with him and say, how's the eviction coming? Do you have any questions? Can I point you in the right direction? Do you want to hire an attorney to do the eviction? Because he doesn't even really necessarily have to do the eviction himself. He can hire an attorney and let the attorney handle the eviction.
Okay. I was just trying to see. I mean, a referral is good because that sounds okay because I'm still at work full time. But I was just trying to
Mhm.
see if it was something that I could do like without having to refer it out, or if it would be too much. If it sounds like it would be too much for me to handle.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna be a it ain't gonna be no slam. I mean, it ain't gonna be. It's gonna take time, I guess. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take mental capacity because you don't know how this tenant and all this how he gonna react, and you don't know. It's a couple of things when it comes to tenants. Number one, you don't know how they're gonna react. Number two, you don't know how versed they are in the eviction process. Because if you get a tenant that is well versed in the eviction process, they can drag it on, and they can like the eviction process typically should take only like 21 months. I mean 21 days. But if they understand how the process works, then they can file certain things to get extended time. And then next thing you know, you're looking up and it's been months and they end up.
Okay, so all right. So I guess I'll make a decision shortly because he wanted to know. He wanted me to get back with him, but
Okay. Well, if it's something you want to do, if you want us to handle it and we give you a referral, we'll do that and the corporate team can handle it.
okay. So I guess I'll have to let you know that when you come back off your cruise.
No, I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving till Sunday. You still got me for 2 days, babe. You know, shoot me a text, let
All
me know.
right.
You know,
Okay.
if it is, because if it is something that you want us to do, then at least I can, at least by tomorrow, I could kind of put some wheels in motion with Jessica up here and see if we can maybe do some preliminary stuff before I leave.
Okay. So I'll talk back with him later on this evening, and I'll let you know something before Friday. I mean before Friday evening.
Okay, cool. And look, so I was listening to, I was actually listening to the Connect the Dots that I did back in March. And guess who was the only person that asked a question on that one too?
Me.
You was. That was the day. Matter of fact, that was the day that you was having a hard time figuring out the sponsorship, and I had to help you put in the right sponsor's number, license number. So that was March
Oh.
of 2016.
Oh. Okay. Okay. Look
Look
at me.
at you still around.
Oh. All right. All right, Mike. Thanks.
Well, let me know if you need anything.
Okay.
Bye. All right, so we finna bob our head about this piece, baby. Another one in the books. Oh yeah. Another one in the books. Create your new life real estate sessions. Connecting the dots. The reboot of connecting the dots. We're gonna put it all together so you can make some money in this business and create your life that you want to create through real estate. All right, y'all have a good one, man. I'll see y'all when I get back off this boat. Peace.